Welcome to another episode of Club Shay Shay. I am your host, Shannon Sharpe. I'm also the proprietor of Club Shay Shay. The lady that's stopping by for conversation and a drink today really needs no introduction, but I'm going to give her one, and it's well-deserved. She was a bona fide superstar before she could even obtain a driver's permit. She's been a leading lady since she was 11 years old. She's one of Time Magazine's most influential people in the world. She's the youngest actress to receive a SAG Award for a nomination in a lead role. She's the youngest talk show host in television history. She's the first Black woman to star in her own show on Nickelodeon. She's the first Black and the youngest to play Cinderella on Broadway.
What?
She's the first Black and to win an outstanding host for a game show at the Emmys. The first Black woman to host the MTV Video Music Awards, a passionate voice for the millennial generation. A multi-decade entertainer in the industry, a veteran. Multi-talented actor, singer, songwriter, producer, director, host, dancer, TV personality, network executive, voice author.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah, podcaster, entrepreneur. She's a boss. She's an all-around entertainer. She's a pop icon. She's a phenom, a trailblazer, trendsetter, an Emmy and an NAACP Image Award winner. She has over 100 credits to her credit. Check this out. She's always booked. She's always busy. And of all the things that I mentioned, the thing that she's most proud of is that she's a mom. The one, the only, the incomparable Keke Palmer.
Oh my gosh. Now why'd you stop? That was so lovely.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh. Thank you for having me on the show. I love the show.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I'm excited to be here.
And people say, well, Shannon, you love to give people the flowers. I don't give people what they deserve. I give people what they earn. And everything that I read, you've earned that. So congratulations.
I really received that. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So we're going to toast some water.
Okay.
To all the things that you've accomplished and will continue to accomplish. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you. I love
This has been a long, we met at the Webbies for the first time, and I think it was in April.
Yep.
And we tried to I would love to have you on the show. She's like, I'm going to come. I love Club Shay Shay.
Yes.
And here we are. So I really appreciate it, Keke. I understand that you're very busy, so I really appreciate your time.
That's my pleasure.
Let's get right into it. Grew up in Robbins. I think you were born in Robbins, Illinois. D. Wade is from Robbins, Illinois.
Yes.
How much do you remember about your childhood and dreaming of this Keke?
So I remember a tight-knit community. We was always going to church every Sunday.
Okay.
You know what I mean? My dad had become ordained, became a deacon. By the time I was I think 8 years old, I would hear my parents talk often about how they fell in love. They did a speech tournament that took them to Louisiana. That's where they first had Popeyes. And then after that, they kind of, slowly but surely the dreams were deferred. They did theater at the Black Ensemble Theater with Jackie Taylor, shout outs to her, which is still going on, the Black Ensemble Theater. But it just wasn't something that they could ultimately maintain. My dad started working in a factory job. My mother was a substitute teacher for mentally challenged children. And then we would just hear of these stories. And I would always think to myself, that would be cool to be a part of that thing that it seemed to have made them so happy.
Right. Two-parent household, obviously. And if I'm not mistaken, your parents, you mentioned in theater, but they kind of gave up their dreams and passion to help you pursue yours. After becoming a mom and the sacrifices that you have to make, do you understand, are you more appreciative now knowing what your parents did in order for you to become who you became?
I'm blown away by my parents and what they were able to do. And I talk about this a lot in my book in terms of, we talk about the sacrifices that parents make, but I don't think we often talk about the personal sacrifices that they make in their personal discomfort, right? There's discomfort that we live in, self-loathing or, not believing in ourselves, anxiety, depression, whatever you may have it. And those are the biggest things that I think about that my parents gave up for me to do what I want to do. And I remember a particular story where my mom, we had to go do a movie. I got a role in a William H. Macy movie called The Wool Cap. It was my first big thing.
Okay.
It was in Montreal, Canada. And my mom told me later on, she said, I was so scared to go out there. I met your father when I was 19. We were together, ever since then. So to leave and be separated from him and go with you to another country, especially one as different as Montreal, Quebec, that's French speaking.
Yes.
Totally.
Yes.
She said, I was so scared, but when I looked at you and I knew that you weren't afraid to do it, that made me say, well, I got to let this go. And so it's the same for me. I found so much strength in things that I never thought that I could overcome because, hey, I got to show up for my son. And so I think that is the beautiful superpower of parenthood.
Being a parent and seeing how it is, because a lot of kids now grow up in a single family household, a single parent household, excuse me. but the knowing that you had your mom and your dad there, what was that experience like? Is that was all you, because that's all you knew, but was it like that in Robbins with most households had double parents?
No, it wasn't. And it's funny because me and my sister were kind of annoyed at that because our parents were we were, because everybody else would be like, I'm going to my dad's this weekend. I'm going to my mom's and I got 2 birthday parties. We were like, damn, we only got, my mom and daddy always stick together. They always on the right page. It was annoying to us a little bit as kids, but it definitely is something that I grew up saying, realizing after the fact that was important, just seeing them stick together. I don't know if it was just the fact that they were together or if it was the fact that they just agreed and were together. Like they maybe argued in the back, but when they showed up in front of us, they were a united front. And I would try to—
They were united against y'all.
They were united against us. And I would try to be like, well, dad said, or well, mom actually, why is she so mean to you? They would never break, ever, ever, ever. And so that I really admire. And it showed me what it was like, to have real unity.
As a former NFL player, I know a thing or two about high performance, and that's why I drive the BMW 7 Series. This car has everything I need. It's big enough, comfortable enough, and luxurious enough to meet even my high expectations. When I'm behind the wheel of the BMW, I'm not just driving a car, I'm driving legacy. What I love most is the precision engineering, cutting-edge technology, and unmatched style, whether it's spacious interior, the powerful engine, or the smooth ride. BMW makes sure every detail is on point. I trust BMW to deliver the ultimate driving experience, and I know you will too. So why wait? Head over to BMWUSA.com, check out models like the sporty X3, the all-electric i4. Build your dream car today and join me in experiencing luxury and performance that only the ultimate driving machine can offer.
Did you ever think about how different your life would have been had you not had the parents that you had?
If my parents didn't uproot their lives and move, drive 4 days and 3 nights to California to help me to pursue my dreams, I don't know. And the funny thing about it is, I don't know many parents that would do that. That was just their particular path.
Right.
And I think even if we take the dramatics out of that exact trip and this exact thing to be Keke Palmer, my parents ultimately what they did was show me that I had a choice.
Right.
And I would like to believe that even if I didn't become an entertainer, if I just stayed in Chicago, we stayed in Illinois, whatever we did, they were going to show me in multiple ways that I had options because that was something that they didn't have. And I think that's also something that I learned and realized because there was a time period when I was a teenager and I was being exposed to so much that they allowed me to be exposed to that separated us for a minute. Mm-hmm. And I kind of did that thing that you do when you're young. You're like, my parents just don't get it. They just don't understand. But I am who my parents would have been had they had the opportunities that they gave me.
How much are you like your parents?
I'm just like my parents. I think in every way. So my dad, he is super funny, likes to make jokes on himself, always like to be the life of the party, encouraging people. I think I love to be of service in that way. That's where my sense of humor comes from. I want to make people feel good. Especially in these times, I've leaned more in my humor in terms of the arts because I feel like that's what we need to laugh. My mom is very discipline. She's like, this is what you got to do. She's committed to what she said she's going to do. She's going to finish it the whole way through. Also very dramatic, honey. I will give you a scene, whether I'm on stage or off stage. So I feel like I'm a lot like them. I don't know if I'm actually that different from them. I feel like I really am like them just in another, age group, genre.
Right. You mentioned that, if I'm not mistaken, you filmed Barbershop. You came to LA after you had done the Barbershop.
That's right.
Was that the moment that your parents realized, okay, in order for her to reach her ultimate, we're going to have to uproot this family. We're going to have to go?
Yes, and they mentioned that. They would say that. I mean, after I did Barbershop, I think I also did American Juniors, which was like Fremantle's version of American Idol for kids.
Right.
And I got my golden ticket, and I actually got to go to California. That was the first time we visited California. And my mom, I think she saw me going. It's so funny. I'm not an athlete, right? But when I think about the NFL and I think about sports, it's very similar to being a child entertainer. There's a system. You got to show up. You're working for a corporation. I mean, NFL is a corporation. Right. You got to show up. You got to do this. And I think my mom saw when I was in American Juniors, when they put me through all the different things, singing, dancing, performing, she saw that I was ready and I was ready to take it seriously. And so that's what made them say, well, if we wanted to have more opportunities, California may be where we need to go. Right. And so it took some time, but eventually they agreed and we went.
Your mom's is still your manager?
Yes, she's here.
That's the only manager you've ever had, correct? Or
No, I've actually had multiple different managers, but she's always stayed. I would like to think of it as, my mom, was a CMO. Mm-hmm. Now I'm the CMO, okay. You know what I mean? But she started the Keke Palmer brand, and we've worked with other people very successfully, most successfully now, my current managers who are awesome.
Mm-hmm. So let me ask you a question. Going on these auditions, obviously your mom is going on you with all these auditions. Was there ever a situation where you were like nervous or you didn't feel like you gave your best effort and your mom pulled you aside and said, Keke, come on now, you better than this?
Yes, it was an audition for Are We There Yet?
Okay,
I wanted to be in that movie too bad. I was like, okay, this is Ice Cube. I just did the barbershop. Like, I got to get Are We There Yet? And I knew when I did the audition, it just wasn't right. Something wasn't right about it. I knew it didn't go well, and I was really sad. I remember having a conversation with my mom, and I don't know if it was right after the audition or if it was some time after that we had spoke about that. And she just said, you weren't ready. And that's something that my mom has always told me, is that timing is everything. You just weren't ready. And that's okay. It's kind of like what we say today, like, let me cook. Yeah. I had to keep cooking. Right. You know what I mean? Like, right. I need, and I think that's the thing is like you have so many good experiences up until, I got barbershop too. And then I think I got like a little, a picture thing, for Scholastic or whatever. Right. And I was booking stuff and I was feeling good. But there are always those things that happen to let you know, like, there's still other levels you got to grow through and learn from. And in order to do that, you actually got to lose some to win some. Right. And that's what I remember that. Are We There Yet? But then it's funny because I ended up doing a few years later. Right. I ended up doing the long shots. And it's a funny story with the long shots that I did with Ice Cube is originally they gave me the part right out. And then Fred Durst became the director. And all of a sudden they gave us a call. Have been working on this movie for a year. They were talking about this movie with me and him. Uh-oh. And he was like, I don't want her. And I was like, dang, that's crazy. Like how quickly they can just move you off of a movie. So I was just like, I was kind of down about it. And then like maybe 5 months passed. They said, it's not working out with the girl. We need Keke. Uh-oh. And I was like, this is crazy. But again, it's one of those moments where what's for you is for you. And that's what I always love to think of that story because even the director couldn't get me off that damn movie. And I probably can do better than you, NFL.
So when you because like you said, you got to take some L's in order to get the majority of the wins.
That's right.
Did you ever become disillusioned? Did you ever damn, maybe this ain't for me?
Oh, yeah. I definitely have. I remember after I did True Jackson VP, my TV show, I was about 17, 18. Like that 17, 18, 19, it was really hard because you're kind of too old for the kid roles, kind of, but then you're also too young for the old. Exactly. And I remember having a conversation with my mom, and I was just like, man, this is tough. I don't know how I'm going to transition this over. Like, I don't know how I'm going to move past this. And she said, well, we can end this now. You can take the money that you have, you can go to college, study something that you feel, you're excited about, or you can push through this. Right. You can push through this period and get to the other side in your career. So it's really the conversation of stay a career person or go to school and try to really start something new maybe, or take a pause. And I stuck with my career. I think I found a lot of freedom in the digital era, producing my own content, shout outs to people like King Batch who really helped me in that era as well, like learning how to use it and to my benefit, tell my stories. But it was a really tough period. And what it is you just don't know what to do. Right. You don't know where to go, what to turn, because you're kind of creating your own blueprint. And I was desperately not trying to be stuck in the same traditional system that really didn't always have a place for me.
But once you got into the movie, the television and things like that, was there ever really a thought of being anything else? I know your mom said, well, babe, you can stop here and transition and go and do the collegiate thing and then be a career person, or you can continue on. But it would be hard for me to believe that, because like once I started playing football was it. It wasn't nothing else that even entered my thought. Yeah. So did it even enter your thought that you could be something else other than what you were, the track you were on?
No, I didn't. But what's so funny is like at the bottom of it, there is always something that is bigger than what it is on the surface. Like, I love entertainment, but really I feel like I'm a social scientist. I like people.
Yes.
I'm curious of people. I like to tell stories of humanity. I feel like we all are so alone here, and I like to talk about the fact that we never want to talk about it, even though that's the one thing we could relate on and create a community out of.
Right.
And so you have to have enough experiences to have the clarity around, so that's why I love this. I'm sure you have the same thing. Like, you probably, I don't know what it is, but like, there's probably a bigger reason why you love football that speaks to all the other things you do. And that's how it was for me. But I didn't know that at 18, 19. And that was a part of the struggle, was that external validation of, I'm an actress, I'm an entertainer, and this is who I am. But no, that's just one of the things I do. And also, I don't really do it for that. I do it for something else. What is that deeper thing that I do it for? And that was the living that I've been having, where I'm able to now be able to speak to it in a way that I just couldn't then. I didn't have the experience.
The days are warmer, the walks are longer, and one easy way to help your dog shine this season is with fresh, healthy food from Farmer's Dog. Farmer's Dogs make fresh, real food and delivers it right to your door. Recipes are developed by vet nutritionists, made from real meat and veggies, and proportioned just for your dog, making it easy to say goodbye to burnt brown balls. Feed your dog real food with real benefits. My Pomeranian Teddy loved the stuff, and his coat has never looked better. It's smart, healthy pet food you can feel good about feeding your pup. And it's the best option for your dog of all life stages, because it's not kibble, it's not canned goo, it's real healthy food. And it doesn't matter if your dog is young or old, it's always the right time to begin investing in their health. That means more happy, healthy, full years together. Get 50% off your first box of fresh, healthy food from farmersdog.com/Shay Shay. Plus, you get free shipping. Just go to farmersdog.com/Shay Shay to get 50% off. That's farmersdog.com/Shay Shay. Before your family relocated to LA, obviously you doing some of the things that you were doing in that community. What was it like for you in school?
So, at first, in my school experience, I was from preschool, kindergarten, up until maybe like the 4th or 5th grade. First, I went to a private school, and that was kind of tough, because Illinois, a lot of people don't know, it is quite segregated, and I grew up in a town. My town, Robbins, was like all black town. Like, I went to Catholic church, and it took me years to realize that all Catholic churches wasn't full of only black folks.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you went to my church, you probably would have thought we were Baptists.
Right.
And so I didn't have that initial experience of what it was like to, kind of have that weirdness of racial discourse. And so it was weird for me a little bit in that private school. That was a tough thing, to be the only black kid in my class. So I had a different experience there than I had when I went to public school, which was a little bit more diverse, around the time I was about 7. And there I felt like, I was voted for president. You know what I'm saying? Like, I felt liked, you know what I mean? Felt a little bit more like I had an opportunity to kind of be myself, and I was embraced.
Yes.
But it was short-lived, because, I started acting at 9, and then we moved to California when I was 10, and at that point I just was homeschooled.
Right.
So I didn't have any real school experience, although I will say, as we all know, school, high school, the middle school, all of those dynamics play out even if you ain't in school.
Right.
So I experienced them in other ways.
That's interesting, because you were homeschooled since you were probably 11, 12?
That's right.
11 or 12 being homeschooled. Do you ever miss out, like, man, I would have liked to be in first period and carried on and things like that? Do you ever think about what it could have been? You still who you are, but still had the experience of going to school.
No, I thought about it all the time. I so desperately wanted to know what it was like to have a fight in the hallway, and be like, they ring the bell and we go. And I think that's also why I loved acting, because it allowed me to be things that I couldn't be, or that I wished I was, or that I hadn't had the experience of being. But yes, as a kid, I wanted nothing more than to know what it was like to have experiences outside of being famous. You know what I mean? I think that fame thing even made it more difficult for me to have authentic experiences, because once you've perceived me, it's hard for me to introduce you to something new. And so that was really tough, especially when I'm trying to engage with my community that now sees me as an outsider at times, because I'm, seen in this privilege.
Right. But when you, like you said, you introduced them, but someone's perception of you might not be who you are, but how do you change that perception of them, of you? How do you get them to change that perception of you to them? Because you see, this is all you see me as this actress and this entertainer, but I'm more faceted than that.
Yeah, I think that for me, I try to focus less on changing their mind and more so on being objective about how I want to get my message across. Okay. My criticism is to self. My criticism isn't to trying to control or change how other people perceive me, but it's about, do I feel like I got that point across? If people feel it or not, that's up to them, how they're going to perceive that. Gotcha. But do I feel that I've done my best and how I want to show up for myself? Am I speaking and using language that I feel like represents me to the fullest? If I'm doing that and I feel good about that, that's really all I can go by, because you really can't control other people's perception of you. But you do have the autonomy to show up how you want to be perceived.
Gotcha. You shot a Disney pilot that didn't get picked up.
Keke and Jamal.
Did you whew. Because I'm thinking, talking to you, listening to you, a very confident person. You believe in Keke.
Okay. But
when that didn't get picked up, what did that do? What did that do to you mentally? You're like, damn, I just knew this is going to be my big break.
What did I think? I want to go back to that moment and really tell you what I thought. I think I was down, and I think I was surprised. Because like you said, I've always been quite confident. Mm-hmm. But it's weird because I've always had this relationship with myself where there's a voice inside my head that would say, well, hey, they f***ed up. I don't know what that is. I wish I could describe what that is. But like when things didn't go my way, and maybe it was the encouragement of my parents, or maybe it's a relationship that I had with self growing up. You know, when you pray as a kid and stuff, that's fostering also the personal conversation with yourself inside. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if I just was comfortable with that and just decided to have a positive look on things. But when I was younger, a lot of times before I hit a place where, yeah, it was tough and it was hard for me to tell myself something positive. Most of the time, if a movie or a role or something else, I would say, they've made a big mistake. Or, wow. So where am I going now? Because I know if this isn't it, God has something else for me. I don't know why that would be that way, but I just would think, well, you're not going to take away gold and give me silver. I do love silver, though.
Then you get the role, Medea's Family Reunion.
Yes.
Do you remember auditioning for that, and how did that role come about?
You know, it's so funny. I didn't audition for that at all. I actually did Akeelah and the Bee with Lionsgate.
Wow. Okay.
So we had already done Akeelah and the Bee, and they were figuring out the distribution and when that movie was going to come out. In the midst of them doing that, they did a big screening for Akeelah and the Bee at Lionsgate. They were so excited about this movie.
Right.
So they did a big screening, and one of the people that were in the screening was Tyler Perry. And he was doing Medea's Family Reunion. And randomly they said, he's doing Medea's Family Reunion. You know, my family, we were huge fans. I remember before I became an entertainer, sitting up at my Uncle Ronald's house, okay, on my Auntie Lonzetta couch.
Watching the plays on television?
And we was watching the plays, okay? So I was like, oh my gosh, Tyler has called us. And they were like, he wants you to come and do a table read. So we did the table read. The next thing you know, I got the role. I'm in Atlanta shooting Medea's Family Reunion.
Wow.
It was crazy. That was crazy.
Your big break, though, was really Akeelah and the Bee.
For sure.
That was the movie that put Keke Palmer, okay.
Yeah.
She legit. She legit. Yeah, she legit. She is, the kid that was doing the roles and all that. No, she's a bona fide. She's someone that's going to be reckoned with, not only now, but moving forward. What was that role, and how did you you played it?
Oh my gosh,
you did the thing.
Oh, thank you so much. When I think about that movie now, I mean, my mom was so I remember we were in the room, whatever, and she was like, oh yeah, I got this new script they want you to audition for. I'm about to read it. It's called Akeelah and the Bee. It sounds like an animation, but we'll see. So I remember her. My mom is so dramatic, like I'm telling you. She comes out of the room, you have to do this movie.
Wow.
I'm like, Mom, please. It's too much. Sometimes sharing is too much. And she's like, I'm telling you, we need to do a tape read of this as a family. So she had us all doing, my dad was playing Javier. You know what I'm saying? I only had to play Akeelah. She was playing the mama. My sister was playing Dr. Larry. And we all read it. And at the end, we all were like, wow, I have to do this movie.
Wow.
We were all, and we just felt like it was, I think it's everything that we care about. It's about community. It's about the beauty in our community. And it's about words and language and how it's very freeing, especially when you think about a young Black girl being able to express herself through words.
Yes.
And just the history of who we are as a people and how words often were kept from us. It has so many deep layers that I think we don't even have to say, we just feel intrinsically. And I just think about the scene where she says, I don't need help from a truculent, supercilious gardener, a dictatorial, truculent, supercilious gardener. It's like, knowing that she was not only able to express herself with those words, but also embody what they meant, it is so freeing. And then pulchritude, the fact that that was her final word, and it means beautiful. And it was the one word that she was struggling when she did not know how to accept herself and her community. But at the end, when she realized that her community was loved and they were beautiful, even in all of what they experienced. As a grown woman, mother now, I get why that movie was so impactful, you know, and it is the gift that keeps giving, you know.
How, when you shot that movie, how long afterwards did people forget that your name was Keke and call you Akeelah?
Literally, people still to this day call me Akeelah. Either they'll come up to me and be like, Akeelah, or they'll be like, stop popping that gum. That still is the most popular thing that people do when they see me, literally.
You mentioned Tyler Perry, and you've been in the Madea family reunion, and I've heard a lot of women say, Tyler Perry has paid me more money than anybody else in Hollywood. I heard Taraji say that. I heard Megan Good say that. I heard a few other women say that.
Yeah.
When we talk about the pay disparity, not just from men to women, but from white women to black women.
Yeah.
Even Viola Davis, the incomparable, she got an EGOT. I mean, she got them all.
Yeah.
Has said that the pay that she receives, and no one is more accomplished than she is. Mm-hmm. Why do you think it's so hard for Hollywood to accept a Taraji, Keke, Viola, any of them, Megan Good, and see them as they see their counterparts?
Because they don't have to. I mean, it's a terrible thing, but I think for me, the biggest thing that I think about in those regards is like, how can we come together and how can we do our own things? Mm-hmm. How can we show up for each other more? You know, a lot of times we have these actors that come out on the front line and they're talking about this and then no one goes to see the movie. That don't help us.
Right.
You know, the comments, we need the million seats in the theater.
Yes,
if you really care about me not getting paid.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Show up, watch the movie, show through the numbers that there's an audience for this. But it's one of those things where I feel like I'm in a place in my life, and I talk about this in my book, where it's like, I cannot change all these systems. And I'm also, I don't want to keep telling the people that are literally benefiting the least to stand out there on the front lines and lose jobs. I mean, I have so many friends and people in this industry that are losing jobs fighting for something that they aren't even directly benefiting from, that I then just want to turn around and say, let's come together. I know that feels cliche, but like literally, that's what it'll take, is to come together, figure out how to create a system that can continue to feed itself within our community. And it's not easy to do that. Right. You know, one of the only people that I think has ever done something like that is Tyler Perry. Right. And that's why I continue to give him his props, because it's not easy to step away from a corporation. He did the first few Madea movies with Lionsgate and then just decided to do them on his own. And people said whatever they wanted to say, or it's not this, it's not that. Okay, well, he was figuring out the numbers so that he could stand on his own and that he could do it the way that he feels it should be done. And I just feel like that we should encourage each other to do it, to try to do it that way, because you're not going to be able to change something as it stands. Right. But you can change yourself and how you work in it. Right.
I'm looking at the Disney movie Jump In, 12 years old. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, that was your first kiss.
Yes.
So how did that go over with your parents?
So, you know, it was actually a big thing for all of us, because I was 12 and Corbin was 17. You know.
Oh man, he be in jail now. He going to jail.
So that was very, weird.
Yes.
And he was such a brother vibe to me. Even though Corbin's adorable, it's so cute. You know, we all loved the hair. Right. It was like that wasn't the relationship we had. And so I remember I had a call with my agent, and I was like, I'm scared about this. This is weird. And she was like, well, Megan Good had to kiss Samuel L. Jackson in Eve's Bayou. So. And I was just like, huh? I just thought, why would that make
My
What I'm
situation-
supposed to do with that?
Yeah, that's me. That's her. That's me.
Yeah, I feel like that was weird too. You know what I mean? And I don't really know what to make of that.
Right.
You know, it's like, this is our craft, this is our art. I think there's a weird thing that happens with kid entertainers where we have to literally dissociate so much.
Yes.
As an adult would in the workplace, in ways that's not normal or common.
Correct.
And to tell these stories. And I don't really know what to make of it, but what I would say is what I've always said to my mom is that I wish that there was more therapy for kid entertainers on set. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wish there was more people to help them process. And, you know, of course they have, intimacy coaches, and they talk things through. And I'm sure that's the experience of any of these kinds of situations, but it still is hard to differentiate from, is this my real life experience or is this someone else?
Right.
And it's weird. It's just like a thing, you know what I mean? Where, you know, I experienced the same thing, you know, in another movie that I did where the guy was, I was 17 and he was like 27.
You like I'm older, huh?
That's what Michelle said.
Oh, no, my goodness. Come on, Keke. It's too soon.
walked me into it.
No, I didn't. You've been waiting for that. It's too soon, Keke. Oh, my goodness.
They don't call you hunky for nothing. You better go ahead.
See, Keke, that is too... Come. I did not expect... Oh, Lord. Let me get back Okay, the scene. You were 17, he was 27.
Yeah.
Whew,
Very weird.
I need a glass.
Go ahead, pour it out.
Can I get a glass, man? Keke, oh, Lord have mercy.
But yes, it's like the age differences and all that stuff. It's a thing.
Oh.
I just remember, you know, I got off that call. I'm thinking about a jump in, and Corbin was like talking to me, holding my hand, being a sweet person, and the kiss was like 5 seconds. It was, again, just the art of being an entertainer and being a child is a very difficult thing to process all the time because you're dealing with really big adult things. And you know.
When did you realize that, okay, this is a job I'm acting, this is not truly what it is? How soon were you able to delineate between the two?
Well, that took some time. I would like to say I didn't start, there would be an element of method acting. I remember I was doing Joyful Noise with Queen Latifah, and she had seen me and my mom were getting ready to do this crying scene, and me and my mom would do this thing where we would talk, and we would have to pull from like my life or thinking about dark things about my life because I had not had yet really enough experience to understand how to draw a correlation between me and my character. And I think that was really like a heavy way to go about getting to the emotion because it would be impossible to create delineating factors between my life and my characters. But I think as time has gotten, I've had more experiences in my life, I've been able to recognize myself and my character without thinking that I am my character. And I've been able to separate myself in other ways. You know what I mean? Like, I think I moved away from California for a while. That helped me. I remember when I did Broadway for the first time. At 21. That was kind of like the first time that I ever experienced a lot of time away from California, which is very much an industry bubble a lot of the time. And I experienced other worlds, like, oh, everybody doesn't care about what I do. In New York, I'm like, some people are into Wall Street, some people are into fashion, some people are into theater, some people are into, there's so many other things that people are interested in. And I think that also helped me too to understand what it means to step outside of one particular space and that I'm not what I do. This is just something that I do.
Is there any type of scene that even now that Keke would be unwilling to do? Would you do like a nude scene or would you do like a say?
Yeah, those I'm not into that, giving you just, hey, with titties out, you know what I mean? I don't know about that. You know what I mean? I don't know. I just don't think I'd feel confident in that to really go ahead and do that. I'm not mad at the love scene, but it's like, what kind? What kind of choreography are we doing? You know what I'm saying? But, other than that, I'm open. But yeah, I'm not into nudity.
How, now that you are a mom, does that play a role into it?
into the roles I want to take? Yes. Okay. And I think before I was a mom, it was my parents, my family, my community, what I want to represent.
Okay.
And then it's become even more my son, my what I want him to see and know. And that's not stringent and rigid, right? I think mothers and women are nuanced. It don't mean, well, I'm not doing, all these rules now, but it's just like, how will I speak to him about it? Is this something that I can stand behind?
Right.
Things like that.
Okay. So Nickelodeon True VIP, the fourth highest paid child star on television. How did that role come about?
So that role came about in the whole little kids network of acting. My mom was on the phone, somebody called her, there's a role.
Okay.
Character's called True Jackson VP, and Keke need to audition for this. And so the creator, Andy Gordon, he was like, I didn't know that she did comedy, because this is kind of, this guy came from like Just Shoot Me, like he's done a lot of like sitcom, comedy, adult comedy. And so he was coming to, kid television, which a lot of people like him were doing at that time and really making it amazing. And he was like, I didn't know, I only knew her from Akeelah and the Bee. That was a really dramatic work. I didn't know that she had a sense of humor. So we had a lunch with him. And then I think I got on tape for it. And the next thing you know, I got the role.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, wow. It made me think about the Disney thing. And I was like, wow, so it was going to happen. It just wasn't time.
Right.
And it was a whirlwind. Like I feel like I was popular then, and a lot of times people think about Akeelah and the Bee and they don't remember it in real time. Like in real time, Akeelah and the Bee bombed. It wasn't like a movie that did good in the theaters. And like nobody really went to see it. People didn't understand it. They didn't understand the name. Like it did, it was not really a success, to be honest with you. It wasn't until DVDs, and people buying the movie after the fact and people hearing about it and word getting around that it became popular. So Akeelah and the Bee became popular over years time. Whereas True Jackson VP, honey, once that hit the air, it was up and it was stuck.
Right. You did it premiered 4.8 million views, setting a record for Nickelodeon's largest audience for a live action premiere. How did you handle that kind of success? Because like you said, you had been in other roles, but you had never had your lead, and to have this level of success.
Yeah, I was traumatized, straight up, because it was just like nothing felt real anymore. And I didn't know how to say no a lot of the times because everybody wanted something from me. And there's like there's this validation that they're looking for me to approve of them, or they're expecting this from me, whether it be fans or even friends, even family. I didn't want to let anybody down because now they're putting me up on this hill and I don't even see myself there. But anything I do or say, it can hurt their feelings. So now I don't know how to have boundaries for myself. And then I'm a kid, so I got to stay in a child's place. And it was just really a lot for me to manage. And then I'm making all this money and, so many people are trying to take me from my parents. And I know that sounds so crazy, but it's true. You have all these people that are making money off of you and they telling you, what's best for you and that your parents don't know. And I remember feeling really burdened by that because I love my parents, and I just felt like, well, damn, am I in trouble? What's going to happen to my career? It was just so stressful for me as a kid. I was really under a lot of stress.
You mentioned that there are people coming in trying to say, well, I can take you so much further than what your parents taking.
Yes.
Did you ever think that, damn, are my parents really holding me back? Could I be bigger than what I actually am now?
I didn't know why I needed to be bigger, I guess.
Okay.
I was just thinking to myself, what am I missing?
Right.
I was happy. My family, we came to California for me to pursue my dreams. I got my own show.
Right. So everything is going according to plan.
Honey, my parents, at their best, made $40,000 a year growing up.
Right.
A year.
Yeah.
I was making that a show.
Whoa, go ahead on that.
So I was like, this is unbelievable. We're happy. We didn't come into this for money. We came into this for love, and look at what we've been blessed with. So when they were doing that, it just was confusing to me. And as a child, I just was afraid that it would all go away. Because then what? Now we're going back to Chicago and if I don't keep working and if I don't listen to these people, or if I don't what happens then? And so I was just very often scared. I had a lot of anxiety and I didn't have anybody to talk to because my parents didn't understand that.
Right.
And then they're also afraid because they see what's going on and now they don't know. Now they checking me and I'm like, I don't need to be checked. I don't like them people.
Right.
We on the same page, y'all. But it was like we couldn't communicate and it was a really terrible time for me.
You making all that money, what you buy? You buy something really, you get something crazy.
I remember the most thing I did, I used to love Net-a-Porter.
Okay.
Like the little website online.
Okay.
I used to just buy a bunch of clothes, bags and stuff like that. I was just really into the fashion then, especially with the show True Jackson VP. Everything was just about fashion all the time. So I just remember always shopping. That was the main thing. Then I bought me a little Apple computer. Nothing really big.
Right.
Just little regular stuff that, I think any kid wants.
How much access did your parents allow you to have to the money? Because we hear all these stories.
Yeah.
That child actors, they have these hit shows and they're making tons of money. And by the time they're 17, 18, they got nothing.
Yeah. So my parents got me a business manager when I was 12.
Oh, wow.
And they wanted me to know that they weren't the ones controlling my money. They had heard these stories, and my mom said, I don't want money to come in between me and my child. And so, Coogan, that Coogan account is set up because a young man, I forget his full name, but I know his last name is Coogan. His parents stole his money. So they made the Coogan account within our industry to help kids have some money. It's like 10%, I think, or something like that. And so that always was there, regardless of anything else. And then on top of that, my parents rationed me out an allowance, but they also rationed out my older sister an allowance as well. And I think the thing about it is somebody can say, okay, but that was your money. Yeah, but we're a family and everybody sacrificed for me to be where I'm at. My dad gave up his pension. Okay, he had worked at the company he worked at for over 15 years, gave up his pension for me to have opportunity for my dreams. My mother, they gave up everything. She gave up everything so she could travel with me and do what she needed to do with me. So how I feel about it is what's mine is theirs, what's theirs is mine.
Right.
And I would do it again. I would give up and sacrifice 20 more years of my life working in this industry so that I could provide and we could have the business we had today.
Keke, it's not normal that a child is the provider for the family. Normally it's vice versa. Parents, father, mother, sometimes the father works.
Can I have a tissue?
Yeah. Look at my bag.
Go ahead, you keep.
Yeah. So normally that's not normal. Normally it's the father. Sometimes you have a dual parent, then both work. But as a child, you are the provider of the family.
Yes.
Did you realize what was on Keke's shoulder?
Yes, I did. And I wore it like this Marc Jacobs runway. I wore it like armor.
It's okay, you did amazing.
I would do it again for my family.
That's why you did it to begin with.
For community. And I think that is the thing, Life is a lonely place.
It is.
And when you have your family, and if you're the one, then you're the one. That's it. That's the way it was. And now, my sister could go to FAMU and she had to worry about nothing. Okay? She got to live and do what she wanted to do. Same thing for all of us. We get to do things that we weren't able to do. And I wasn't the only person that sacrificed, but yes, a lot of it was on me. And it's just one of those things where I feel like I could be sad, but why? Look what I gained.
Yes.
I gained so much more than what I sacrificed.
Keke, a lot of times when I talk to people, I said people will write down their goals, what they want to accomplish in life, but very few people are willing to write down what they're willing to sacrifice to achieve those goals. You had a dream and you wrote down your goals, what you wanted to become. But you say, you know what I'm willing to give up? I'm willing to give up being a high school student. I'm willing to give up being a college student. I'm willing to give up what a normal 17, 18, 20, 22-year-old to accomplish those goals. Do you understand what that means? Your parents, I don't know if they've told you how proud they are of you. I don't know if your sister has ever told you how proud they are of you, but they are.
My brother told me when we went to my sister's graduation, he said, the time was now, and you were the one to do it. I don't know if you know, I don't know if you realize, but you changed our lives. And I was just like, I was 7 when he was born. I'm a lot older than him. I never know how he's seen this or look, you know what I mean?
Yes.
I know my brother used to tell his friends when he was 6, my sister's True Jackson BP. That's all, I know that he thought of it. But he said, whatever prayers that were prayed about us, whatever was done, whatever our ancestors did, the moment is now. You've done it. You've changed it for the Palmers forever. And it's just like, man, it's crazy. And I think that, look, you can look at it as I'm Keke Palmer, but I think a lot of people have had this. We may not know their names, but people that's watching this, they done gave up stuff for their family. My dad and my mom, they gave up stuff for their family.
Correct.
My dad, he was accepted to UCLA. He didn't go because my grandmother needed him. My mom had an opportunity to go to school at Juilliard. She didn't go because my father needed her. They decided to do certain things for the community, and it was all paid back and then some. And that's how I truly believe in things. I believe there is no reward without sacrifice. And sometimes that's hard for people to understand and accept. But there are many nights where I was lonely and I cried and I had nobody. There was many moments where I felt like I couldn't make it. I don't know what I'm going to do. But then I said, you know what? I'm here for a reason. And I gotta push through this. So I did.
There are a lot of prayers that were said that you didn't even know he heard.
And that is facts. And I can see it in my life today. When I see certain moments and things come up or certain opportunities that I'm having, or, I told my mom it's so different. There was a conversation where, I would see fans when I was younger and they would say, thank you, we love this movie, it's good, it's great. But now when people come up to me, you know what they say? What? Thank you for what you do for the community. Wow. We appreciate you. I'm like, wow. It's almost like, yeah, y'all, you see my heart. You see why I'm doing what I'm doing. I don't expect that. But when I hear that, I'm like, damn, that's crazy. It really touches me. It reminds me of why I'm doing what I'm doing.
You're one of the great success stories of a child actor. If there's anything that you could, young boys, young girls that want to follow in Keke's footsteps, what's some of the advice you would give them?
You can't change the world. There's a great quote that I love with Mother Teresa. She says, no great things can be done, only small things with great love. So focus on what you can do on the inside with yourself. My book, Master Me, is all about self-mastery. Mastery of the self, how you move in this world, how you choose to show up and perform, how you choose to identify your purpose and how that informs the way you're going to perform and how that leads you to your power. That's what it's about to me. So I would say to lean into you, trust yourself, know where it is that you feel safe, have and create a community that allows you to flourish and encourages you to be your best. And then be easy on yourself. Take it one day at a time, because I didn't know the blueprint I was drawing, but I trusted and had faith that it was going to work out. And I followed my heart. I followed what made me feel good, what made me feel happy, my sense of purpose, what drew me to something from a good place. That's what allowed to lead me. And so, yeah, trust yourself, because at the end of the day.
There's a viral clip that's circulating where Justin Bieber says he wished he could protect Billie Eilish from the industry. But, obviously he came up in the industry, extremely successful. You came up in the industry. What is it? Is because the kids are kind of isolated? Like a lot of times, I don't, like you said, your mom traveled with you everywhere.
Yeah.
But, I had Kale Mitchell here, and I've had some others that, sometimes the parents are not around, and, sometimes and kids they're vulnerable. They're easily taken advantage of.
Yes, I think it's everything you said. Kids are easily taken advantage of. You can go all the way back to Judy Garland when they were pumping her up with drugs. So, it happens. And even if it's not the most extreme idea, it's still traumatizing. Like, I can't tell you that I've experienced some crazy things, but I can't tell you they were done when I was a kid on set. But even still, it was hard.
Right.
So I just think being a child and working in an adult world, this is an adult business. There's nothing childish or kiddie about showing up and working 20 hours a day, you know?
Right.
I just don't think there's anything that can really prepare a child for that because mentally they're not able to understand that. And so there are some things in place, but like I said, I feel like there should be therapists. And I seen an interview recently where Raven-Symoné was saying that on her show, they do have that. So I just think there needs to be more things implemented to protect a child from a childhood that essentially they're being stripped of. Because the thing about childhood is you're allowed to be a child, which means I'm allowed to cry and kick and scream. I'm allowed to have a bad attitude. You know, my son, we did Halloween pictures yesterday. He kicked and screamed the whole time. He can do that because he's a kid. But when people are there because it's a business, you can't do that.
Right.
You can't kick and scream. You're not allowed to be a kid. You're not allowed to say, I don't want to do this. You're not allowed.
You have to be an adult as a 7, 8, 12-year-old.
You do. And that's why a lot of times people say, so-and-so seems so mature. They seem so, well, they've aged. The industry will age you. You know, sometimes I feel 50 because the way that I had to be objective about things in order to survive the scenario, you know, it's going to make you more mature. And so, yeah, I get the statement because, you know, everybody wants people to be able to enjoy their childhood. But as a child entertainer,
You don't get a childhood. You get robbed of that, huh?
no, you can't. You have to. There's no way to be a kid there. It's not fit for that.
Nickelodeon scandal, quiet on the set. Your mom said some Nickelodeon sets were very weird and cultish. Did you have any bad? Did you experience any of that?
I did not. I'm very grateful to God I didn't experience anything like that. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to make it seem like, oh, it's because my parents was doing more than the other parents or something like that. Because I'm sure many of these parents was doing their best. But my parents, they were really so strict on me. And a lot of times I feel like that's why I didn't get some opportunities, or I don't even want to say opportunities, but why some people didn't want to work with me. And it's not even that there was necessarily going to be something sinister going on in a sexual manner, but it would also be financial. You know, my mom, she would read those contracts. She would say, well, this is the second year. She needs a raise. And they're like, okay, well, she's coming. So instead of doing a third season, we'll overpack the second season so we can get 3 seasons and we don't have to pay her more.
Right.
And so those are the kinds of things that Sharon would do that I think she was just so alert that it would scare some people off. You know, and
But she wasn't going to let anybody take advantage of her child.
She was serious about that. She really was. I remember she cursed a lot of people out. She definitely did. I ain't raising no dummy. Y'all need to make sure she get her school. I'll never forget that's what she did on the Akeelah and the Beast set because it was kind of starting to overwork me. And she said, I'ma close the set down. She ain't got no school all day. I ain't raising no fool. It don't make no sense for her to be on this set with this movie where they talking about a little girl learning how to spell and y'all ain't gonna let her read.
Wow.
And as a kid, sometimes that stuff would embarrass me. Yes, it would embarrass me. But now it's like, woo, thank goodness. And she would tell me that, you know, later on that she was scared, but she was just doing what she felt she needed to do to protect me.
Right.
So yeah, I feel like any of the crazy industry or hard things I went through, most of the time I brought them on myself as a young woman. Because as a kid, Larry and Sharon were like...
They was on it.
They was on it, yeah.
What are some of the best advice that men, women in the industry before you have shared with Keke?
Oh, a lot of people have shared a lot of things with me. I remember I was on a set of The Long Shots with Ice Cube. And I think I've told this story before. But, you know, he was very cool, very chill. He didn't say too much, man, a few words. But very nice. And one day, they were like, Ice Cube wants to speak to you. And I'm like, okay. You know? So they called me into a room. He's like way far distant from me and there's some bodyguards there. I'm like, what are we about to talk about? You know? He's like, I just want to tell you, Keke, you're a beautiful young lady. And I see how kind you are, how nice you are to everybody on the set. But I want you to know that you're growing into a young woman. And a lot of times the way that people see you, the way that these men see you on set, it's not the way that you see yourself. So protect yourself. Be careful. And don't let them take advantage of you. Know who you are and know what you have so that people can't use it against you. And I was just like, I didn't understand it because I was like 14 at the time. And I was like, okay, You know, and I just said, can I go? And I walked out. That stuck with me. And it was so important, I think, for him to say something like that to me. You know what I mean? He's a father. He's someone who has seen a lot in this industry, especially with young entertainers.
Right.
And I always remember that, and I was always so grateful to him for that. I haven't seen him since, but I would love to tell him that really stuck with me all these years, and thank you for reminding me.
Are there any roles that you turned down that you later regretted?
I don't say that I would regret this one, but it would have kind of been cool to be in Half Nelson. I remember they had reached out to us about that. My mom was so, they've always been so particular about how I represent the community. I grew up with them always talking about Ruby Dee, Ozzie Davis, Muhammad Ali, and just entertainers and how they use their platforms.
Correct.
And so they were like feeling bad about the fact that I would go from doing Akeelah and the Bee to being a drug dealer. And so that's why they weren't interested in that. But, obviously Ryan Gosling is a great actor, and so is Sharika Epps. So it was a great movie.
Of all the movies that you've done, which movie is Keke Palmer most identified with?
That people identify me the most with? Absolutely Akeelah and the Bee.
Really?
People still to this day, that is the movie when they think about me. I mean, I've gone on the airplanes and people say, are you the little girl in Akeelah and the Bee? And I'm like, yeah, that's crazy that you know that. So that's the one that I think people still think about the most. And then True Jackson VP, yeah. And then now, Nope.
Have you ever gotten stage fright? Have you ever gotten up there and forgot every word that you were supposed to say after knowing it backwards and forward?
That happened to me once. I was doing Broadway. And what happens is you kind of go like blank in your mind when you're doing so many shows like that.
Right.
Because you get used to the fact that I know what I'm doing. And they rehearse you so much that you're like, oh, I got this. And you can actually leave your body a little bit. Wow. One night, I left my body doing a lovely night. And I was like, oh, what kind of night is it? I was like, and honey, it was the strangest thing because, I'm doing my dance and everything. And so I was like, I just stayed dancing and smiling, like literally. I felt crazy. And then I looked down and I see the conductor and he's like, and he's mouthing it back to me. And I suddenly got back on track. Honey, I felt like I went, and you know what they call it? They call it, you go into the little white room.
Wow.
I went to the little white room and I didn't know how I was going to recover.
Right.
That was the scariest thing I ever experienced in my life.
But do you think the audience knew that you had lost your train of thought?
I would love to have asked somebody. They might have thought, weird choreography. Because I was literally like, it was strange. I went from being like, and it was just like, is she good? They had to have thought that. But once I got back in, and that was it, It was spooky.
Long shot. Which quarterback taught you how to throw the ball 40 yards in long shot?
It was this man named Pastor Denny. Okay. In Louisiana, Shreveport, Louisiana. His name was Pastor Denny. He told me he used to train Brett Favre back in the day, but everybody says stuff like that. Yeah. But I loved Pastor Denny. He was such a sweet man. And they sat there, they would teach me how to play, they would teach me how to throw the ball, everything like that. I got down and dirty with them.
So, let's just say for the sake of argument, because now they have a flag football. The young ladies play flag football. If they would have had that back then and you could have played, what position would you have played? You'd been a quarterback?
I think I would have been a quarterback, for sure.
Oh, you want to shine, huh?
Can't you tell? I do think I would have done sports. I would have, because I like discipline. I was just telling you that when we was talking, like, I like that. I like, even though I'm not an athlete, I do think like an athlete because I got to make sure I'm on point. I got to learn my lines. I got to be here when I got to show up. I got to look right. I got to sound right. I got to, do all those things. And I really do love it. So I feel like if I hadn't gotten into my sport and entertainment, that I would have gotten into something.
So if Keke Palmer is a quarterback, what current quarterback is her game? Is she Lamar Jackson? She Patrick Mahomes? She Dak Prescott? She Brock Purdy? I mean, who is Keke as a quarterback?
I mean, Patrick Mahomes is really good. Patrick Mahomes is really good, but I really also do have to show some love to my man Jalen.
Okay, Hurts?
Yeah.
Okay,
He's good too.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jalen Hurts, I think, is great. I think Patrick Mahomes is doing his thing. You can't deny what you see.
Right.
Yeah, that's the main thing. I wonder what my man Michael Strahan would say. You know, that's my boy.
Okay.
I gotta ask him. I know he ain't the quarterback, but I gotta ask him what he think.
The Emirates NBA Cup is here. You can win big getting in on the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. All 30 teams split into 6 groups every Tuesday and Friday, playing for the right to advance into a single elimination in-season tournament, culminating in the NBA Cup Championship in Las Vegas. First time, here's something special for you. New DraftKings customers bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Score big with DraftKings Sportsbook. Every point counts. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use code MONEYMOVES. That's code MONEYMOVE for new customers to get $150 in bonus bet if your bet wins when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. Okay, TLC buyout. You played Chili in that buyout.
Yes, I did. That was a really fun experience. That was really, 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 really fun. I remember going to her house. She has a huge mansion, but everything is miniature to her height. I was like, this is so cute. It was like perfectly for her height.
Yeah.
And she spent so much time with me, speaking to me about her life, her experience in the group, what the movie meant to her. It was just a really special time.
Yeah. She's a great lady. I met her several times, and on the plane, and we just talked the whole trip from LA back to Atlanta.
Oh, wow.
If you could play anyone else in a buyout, who would you play?
I wish you joy. Yeah, I would live to play Whitney. That would be, but they've done too many of it now. So it's like, I don't want to keep on going. You know what I mean? But in the back of my throat, I would love to sit up there and, give you that.
What about Angela Bassett?
Would love to be Angela as well. I mean, people always say that because I go into the impressions of her.
Yeah.
And if Angela wanted me to play her, all she knows is I'm one call away.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, Whitney, you could really... You got a new movie out with SZA and Issa Rae.
Oh, yeah.
Tell us about the movie.
So it's called, well, actually, I was just about to tell you what it was called, but we didn't change the name, so there's no name yet.
Oh, okay.
You'll know the name soon. But the movie is about essentially 2 girls that are trying to make it to get their rent paid, and by the end of the day. So it kind of goes over the course of one day, and all the different hijinks that they experience. But the movie has so many other themes, ultimately like about gentrification and the fact that a lot of people are being kind of priced out of their environment. So ultimately it comes to a place of being about community and friendship and love, and how those are the things I think we got to cling to when we're trying to get through these hard times.
Right. But you're also in a movie, I think it comes out in 25 with Katt, Lil Rel. You're also in a movie with them, correct?
They're in this movie.
Yes.
Yes, they're in this movie as well. Yeah, and it was so fun to work with Katt again because I worked with him before on 2 Minutes of Fame.
Right.
And then it was Rel. Rel and I never worked together, but we always see each other. We both from Chicago.
Right.
So it was really cool. We had a lot of fun in this movie too, and we both all did a little bit of improv.
What is the thing? Because people have this perception of Katt, and we know that he came on here and sat right there, and
that was an iconic episode.
It was. What do people get wrong about Katt?
Well, Katt is no nonsense. I think he says what he means and means what he says, and he really is like, he loves you or he don't. Luckily I'm somebody that he loves, and I love him right back. He's always been so kind, encouraging, and loving towards me, and very kind of protective as well. But who knows what he's seen? You know what I'm saying? Who knows what he's seen? Who knows what he's experienced? I just know he's always been a good dude to me.
Right. Hustlers. Jennifer Lopez, Cardi B.
Yes. Hustlers I enjoyed. I enjoyed doing that movie.
Come on.
You didn't like doing them? You didn't like the movie?
I'm saying, but the part that you was you know what that.
You didn't like me dancing? Come on.
Yeah, but
Hunky. Come on. You ain't like all that dancing I was doing.
Let me get another one of these.
I had a good time. They didn't even let me dance as much as I thought they would. They didn't even, mostly the main person dancing was, of course, the fabulous Jennifer Lopez. Right. She gave us a good show in the beginning. But most of the movie, obviously, it's about us being criminals.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I had a lot of fun with it. All the women were amazing. It was just a cool experience, especially for me with comedy at that point.
Right.
I had been working so hard digitally to, kind of show people what I wanted to do in that space. And so it was awesome that I got the opportunity to kind of show that now also on film in a traditional sense.
So what's your favorite story from the set? Because you're on there with Usher and you got Lizzo, you got, Cardi B, you got J-Lo.
Probably when I sang the Selena song with Jennifer Lopez.
Okay.
Because I grew up loving that movie. I mean, I don't know who don't love that movie. Selena, honey. And so me and her didn't have a lot of scenes together, but the moments that we had, we would become real close. And even to this day, if she sees something, you would think, man, she's so busy.
Right.
She'll reach out to me. She'll say, hey, baby, if you need me, call me. And so she's just one of those people, again, where it's like, they make a connection to you, they make a connection to you.
Right.
And they're gonna always be there to support you. And so I just remember us having a lot of random bonding moments. And she's always looked out for me ever since then.
Wow. The Usher concert, I had Usher on and I talked to him and he said, I was ushering her a good time.
I love the play on words.
Keke, did you ever think that moment would be as viral as it was?
No. I mean, I thought I looked good, but I was like,
I mean, hey, we talk about the boy. They got, because they already gonna kill me. They already gonna be.
I did not expect that at all. I feel like everybody went to the concert and he did kind of like a little moment with Issa, Taraji. Everybody did that. So I wasn't sure why mine was just so gagged.
You do know why. You was all into it.
What?
You were having a good time.
Well, what else was I supposed to do?
Not have a good time. And then, look what you had on, Keke.
So it's so funny. I was talking to my girlfriend right before we left. That's why this is also funny in that regard. I was like, girl, do you think it's good in the back? Is it too much? She said, girl, you look fabulous. That's just her laughing in the back right now. She said, I think you look fabulous. So I didn't think much about the look either. And at the concert, I'll be honest with you, Usher to me, he's one of those people that do everything. And he tells a story. He's real theatrical. He kind of puts a little bit of Fred Astaire, but he makes it real hip hop. So when I think maybe I actually have forgotten
that you was at a concert or
that he was that good.
Oh, okay.
Because when I seen everything he was doing, I just was like a natural fan, loving it and enjoying the show. I did not think it would be what it was.
You Keke Palmer though.
Yeah, maybe I don't know that. I do think people sometimes think celebrities have like some intergalactic world and we're just all connected, but I don't know that man no more than I knew Dick Cheney.
Right.
He's just, he's just ushered to me like he ushered all of us. Yeah. And I'm just a fan at the show,
But it caused some in your household. It caused some issues. You smooth that out? Keke, you got Keke. First of all, if you're not Keke Palmer, let's just say you're Jane Smith.
Yeah.
You don't have a man. You don't have a child. Okay. Look at Jane Smith doing it. But you're Keke Palmer. You do have, and you just had a child. I mean, what? A couple of months old?
I think the thing is, if I thought that it was crazy or wrong, I wouldn't have done it. In my mind, I'm just a girl at a concert enjoying it with, I'm taking my coworkers out. We're celebrating Key TV. I'm just thinking about having a good time. I'm not thinking about how this is going to look or what, it was just really a surprise to me. I know that sounds crazy, but I genuinely did not expect it to become this thing. But then once it becomes this thing, all I know how to do is move forward. You know what I mean? I don't beat the same drums. Right. I just kind of like, okay, well, life goes on.
Right. DDG was at a concert with his girlfriend Halle Bailey, and Usher tried to cut me like,
the way that it's become a continuous gag, it's really cackling. it really is. I've even gone to comedy shows. It's become a little sketch.
Is it true? Like, hold on, you had a liquor sponsor. No, you ain't drinking mine, but I'm just saying.
No. Do I have a liquor sponsor? I was just thinking about that. Go ahead. What's your question?
But you was pregnant. You want to get one? I like to.
Nah. You want to give me a liquor sponsorship?
I mean, we can work something out.
Let me taste it.
Not now.
Why
you breastfeeding.
I ain't pregnant.
You ain't breastfeeding no more?
That was real cute how you did that.
Oh, I'm just...
the people been asking that. I do want to taste some of this. I love how you tried that. Come on, you better get into it, Shay Shay.
No, I was just
for this.
I was just.
You coming for Oprah's
No, I was just,
You better go.
Cause they said, she don't, I said, oh, okay.
I need to find out your big three, because there's some good stuff going on over here. That is good. That is good. They about to pull me up because this needs to be open. Oh, no, this was open. Go ahead.
But you can take that one home, though. Let me ask you
Thank
this.
you.
Do you want more kids?
I would love like 10 kids. I know that sounds
You got
crazy.
a late start for 10.
I know. Damn. But I would love a lot of kids. I just love the vibe of just we all in there. Come on, crew. And we just riding out together. I just think that's fabulous.
You have a brother and a sister, right?
Yes, so it's 4 of us all together. I got an older sister and I got a younger sister and brother. They're twins. But my mom's a twin and my dad's a twin. Isn't that crazy?
It might skip you.
No way you had to do that. I hope it don't skip me. Cheers. I would love a lot of kids. I like big families. My dad's 1 of 9 boys. My mom's 1 of 7.
Your dad is 9 boys?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you probably gonna have all boys. Would you
And
want
that would be iconic.
I thought you wouldn't want a little Keke?
A little Loretta. My mom hates that name, but I love it. I love naming kids old school names. I think that's very cute. Loretta. Mm-hmm. Come here, Retta. Mildred. AKA Millie. Fabulous. I'm a little old school, traditional
I
in
can
some
see
ways.
that. I can see that. Listening to that, you talk and your energy, you don't.
It's good.
You don't strike me as a person that's.
You trying to come after Sir Davis? I had to shout out my girl.
Yes. Let me ask you this though. If your son says, you know what, Mom, I kind of want to follow in your path and be in entertainment, you cool with that?
I am cool with that, but I'm gonna let him know early on what's going on. Okay. How serious it is. But I'll be like this, because even if it's not entertainment, if it's a sport or something, you gotta follow through, boo-boo.
Right.
Discipline, it's sacrifice and reward. And I think that's important. I think we need even more of that. I think there's this idea sometimes that it's, getting there is supposed to be easier. There'll be no challenges.
Right.
It doesn't mean it has to be painful, but you will have challenges. It's like you can't beat Bowser without going through level 1 through 8.
Right.
However many it is.
Let me ask you a question. What's been the most gratifying part of being a mother?
The most gratifying part about being a mother. Watching my son grow. Just seeing him learn new things, seeing his personality come to, him talking. He's saying stuff now. He could say, Mama, he could say, I love you. Wow. Being a part of someone's life like that and knowing that you have the opportunities to support them to become somebody in this world.
And help shape it.
I think it's just such a true honor. And, I'm just so grateful. I mean, honestly, I really am grateful. I really do feel so blessed.
I saw a quote. You said, I have no confusion on why I'm here, on my purpose or my value or why I should stay. What did you mean by that?
Well, there have been times where I'm like, should I stay? It gets crazy here. And sometimes you do want to go. But my mom says something a lot that my grandmother always said and that my sister named her book after, which is keep living. Because when you do, you get the answer to those questions that you're asking yourself. When we think about self-mastery or mastering the self, patience is high on the list. Patience with life and trusting that it'll lead you where you want to go. That's faith. And for me, that's been my compass the entire time here. And so, at 31, I can say I'm clear. And I'm sure I'll reach another evolution when I turn 41. But from 21, when I put out my first book, to 31, when I'm putting out my now new book, Master of Me, I do feel like I've mastered my mind and how to walk through this world and how it perceives me and know how to continue to shape who I want to be and learn from my mistakes and move on with grace, reframe and move on.
I read in 2019, as a part of the You Know Me campaign, you shared that you had terminated a pregnancy. Why did you share that? Why did you share that?
Why did I share it? So I'm one of those people that really is truly private about most things.
Yes.
Because I feel like as an entertainer, it actually, I don't want to put my, so to speak, on you. I feel like as an entertainer, I'm here to make you laugh, talk about something positive, inspire, aspirational, something that's gonna be good for your day. You know, I don't want to come at you with my baggage.
Right.
And so I usually don't, you know, that's not to say my personal life is baggage, but it just doesn't have nothing to do with you. And so I usually don't say certain things unless it could be of service to someone else. And I think, I forget exactly what was going on at that time. I'm sure it was a multitude of things happening. Obviously, we've seen the reversal of Roe versus Wade, and there's a bunch of things happen politically with women's rights. And I just feel like, look, if you don't feel like you can do it, then don't do it. And I felt like I couldn't do it. And it's a disservice to that child. It's a disservice to myself to do it that way.
Right.
I just felt that I wouldn't be good, that it wouldn't be right. And yeah, you can look at it differently. You can say, well, God was testing you and you had to follow through on that. And that could be the case. And it is what it is. That's my relationship. That's what, you know, that's how I move forward with that. But I shared it just in case someone else may have been going through that. They may have questioned it. They may have been concerned. They may have been worried. I wanted them to know that if I am somebody that they look at or they look up to or they feel encouraged by, that despite the choices that I've made, make a right choice for you. You don't have to do what I did. You don't have to not do what I did. But I would like to encourage you to do what's best for you, because even in whatever somebody thinks it is, or good or bad, it's your journey. So whatever decision you make is the right one, because it's going to get you to where you need to go.
Was it an agonizing process that you went through? Was there a lot of like...
It was extremely agonizing. It was terrible. And coming from the family that I come from, you know, my family's not religious in a way where it's like, you get it, you know, but we are religious, you know, so it was kind of like a thing where, damn, this is not what I saw me doing. You know, I felt bad or I questioned it and all of these things. But ultimately I came to the decision I came to with God, and I was okay to move forward with it, you know, and I'm very grateful for my son and what I have now and the time that it took to get to this point. I can't say that I regret it.
Did you share that information with the father at the time?
I did.
And how did he feel about it? It's your, like you said, your body, your choice.
Yeah.
But it didn't seem like he was as excited about it.
I don't know. I don't know if he, I don't want to say anything bad about this person. So I'll just say that, leave that there.
Okay.
I know how to put it into words. Okay. You know.
Polycystic ovarian syndrome causes acne, bad acne in puberty, excessive.
Why would you say it like that? Causes acne, bad acne.
Extreme body hair.
Oh my gosh.
Excess face hair, you know, you had a little mustache, goatee.
Yes, it do.
What I mean, I can just only imagine as a child and a young lady.
Yeah, no.
Guys having acne, yeah, it's bad, but okay, you're a guy and you got excessive hair, so what? You got a beard at 12.
Yeah.
But for a young lady.
And some might even say it's in reverse, because at least I could put a little makeup on. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, with guys, it's kind of just there. I mean, shit, they can put makeup on too. Right. But I don't know if it's always the first thing that they turn to. The reality is acne is terrible. Like, and people always think drink water. I'm tired of that shit. Water don't do it for everybody. You know what I mean? Sometimes people got some shit going on. Right. And so for me, it was like, it's hormonal. Right. You know, I can't really control it. And I've tried many different things. And I do say, you know, invest in a dermatologist, because sometimes you do need medication. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like you probably should talk about it. But what people don't realize, and why I spoke out about it again, something personal that I want to share, was only so it could benefit somebody else struggling with a difficult decision or confidence issue, because it absolutely makes you feel bad. I've had moments in my life where I woke up feeling good and then I see my skin and I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to go back into the bedroom. How am I going to go on with this day?
Right.
And that sounds crazy and that sounds strange. But when you can control every aspect of your life, you know, I can get up and I can go to the gym. I can do X, Y, and Z or whatever. And even that's difficult. Like that's a whole nother conversation in itself as well. When you just feel like there's something in your life that you can't control, it is extraordinarily debilitating. It really is. And I don't know that people often think about that with acne. And I always make that joke where I'm like, if I could go into the doctors and get me a fat ass, why can't I get me a clean skin? You know, it sucks. Like, I don't know why that's not something that can be easily changed.
Right.
But it's not.
Right.
And it really is terrible, love. But, you know, a lot of people experience it. And I'm one of them.
You said your son helped you with acne. So having a child?
Yes, because of me, my acne is usually, it's hormone induced.
Right.
When I had more, I think it was progesterone, it made my skin balance because I actually have a lot of testosterone. That's why I get the hair.
So that's why you be trying to handle things. You be trying to handle things, huh? Uh-huh.
I knew this was coming.
Yeah.
I knew that this was coming.
I knew it. Something just didn't sit right with my spirit. I knew you had to be in charge.
You need a little bit of that sometimes, you know.
So, look, Keke, you had mentioned that, you know, like, man, they got all these other enhancements. Why can't they have something to get rid of this acne? Is that the only type of plastic surgery you would consider? Any kind of female enhancement you would consider is that now you don't have to worry about that, but that was the only enhancement you would have considered?
I mean, after the breastfeeding with my son, I mean, it was a horror show. But I'll be honest, I mean, I'm here for whatever people want to do. I think personally, I'm a little bit scared and frightened. I think, you know, it's one of those things where I think you probably have to maintain it, you know, which could be tough on your pockets and your body. But I'm here for whatever people want to do to make them feel good, especially like I'm saying, like after you have a kid, your body changes for real, you know? So yeah, whatever makes you feel good and like yourself.
How many, before you had your son and it basically helped the acne go away, how many procedures or how many treatments had you gone through trying to deal with it?
Oh my gosh, so many. The more severe of treatments. I went through medications, laser treatments. I mean, just really anything that you could think of. It just didn't help. Severe diets. You know, I would go on extreme diets and I would get, one time I was just too thin. I was like, I don't even look like myself. You know what I mean? And it didn't even help my skin. So it's just like, I did everything under the sun. And that's why I tell people, when you know somebody that's struggling with acne, careful what you say.
Right.
Because that person has probably tried mostly everything. There's not really much of anything that somebody could tell me that I ain't tried.
Okay.
And so I feel like I do wish that the conversation surrounding acne could change. That sometimes when people are telling you about their troubles with acne, it doesn't mean I'm looking for you to fix it. It just means I want somebody to talk to about what I'm dealing with.
Listen.
You know?
Right. Cardi B just had a baby, Shantae, and they're already started working out. How soon after you gave birth to your son did you start back working out saying, I got to get Keke's body back?
So I don't know if I was like, I got to get Keke's body back because I don't know how quickly that was going to happen. But I did say, let me do something to get back to myself. My big thing was trying to get back to myself as best as I could because you just start feeling so different and not like yourself. It emotionally is a bit of a wreck.
Right.
So I remember like going on the treadmill, doing walks and stuff like that, but nothing too severe until maybe like, I don't know, maybe like 2 months after the baby. Then I started trying to like train and stuff again. Some of that weight I wish I kept. It dwindled, especially in the back.
Did you have any postpartum? I
had tons of postpartum. I do feel like postpartum is something that people talk about as a period of time after you have the kid, but I think it's like lifelong.
Really?
And I think you get used to it because it's just kind of like really, again, it really wrecks you. I mean, I remember thinking at one point early on after I'd had my son, my mom was holding him. I was like, let him go. Like, it was like, girl, that's your mama.
Right.
You know, but you're like so afraid of everything and so concerned. And I'm sure there's something like human about that or mammal-like that derives from just science, you know what I mean? But now we're in a different type of society and we're quote unquote civilized. And so what is in us innately, it sometimes doesn't have a place, quote unquote, here, but you still have the feelings. And so for me, I think, in your mind, it all feels normal. It all feels real. But I think it's just like trying to figure out what real danger is and what's just your fear of motherhood is really, really difficult. And it's something that you're constantly doing for the rest of your life.
Keke, when did Hollywood turn to these weight loss drugs, the Ozempic, tirzepatide, or Mounjaro? When did that happen?
I feel like it's always been around. They just got a new, I think so. I think it's just got a new brand name. You know what I mean? I feel like people, you know, there are things out there that can assist you and help you. You know, so I feel like it's something that's common. I had never heard of it too, Ozempic, but when I speak about it or I've heard about it or people having conversations about it, I think it's something that's
Well, I heard
common.
about it, but it's normally with people that actually need it. They had a actual diagnosis to be able to take it.
Now, not the shade that you're trying to throw.
No, I ain't trying to each his own. Whatever you feel you need to do, take off.
Yeah, I feel like that too. I feel like, look, honestly, I feel similarly about my skin as I do about weight. I don't think it's as simple as people think it is. I think people sometimes say, oh, just get up on the treadmill or just do
Yeah.
And I don't know. Sometimes it really is not what you think it is, you know, and not to also say that you need to lose weight. I think whatever makes you feel good about you.
You can't lose no weight. You disappear. I mean, you a $105 right now. $110
I'm
strong.
howling.
You disappear in no
I'll
time.
take that.
Is it hard? Let me ask you, because we've been seeing this thing about the 50-50. Men and women go 50-50. Women say, I ain't going nothing. You tried to quote me, you go 100% or it's going to be nothing.
Hilarious.
More times than not, Keke. I mean, I look, you've been pretty private with your dating life, but a lot of times, I mean, now you've gone public with the guy that you had the child from. You make more money than him. How hard is it to date, that you find it to date someone like yourself and a man that doesn't make as much, if not more than you? Is that hard?
Yeah, I mean, I think I became a millionaire at 12. To expect everybody to have become a millionaire at 12 and learn money management and have a business manager at 12, to me just seems not realistic.
Right.
I started working 10, 15 years before most of my generation had their first job. And this is like most, obviously some people different. But no, I don't hold people to those standards. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like if I wanted somebody that made as much as me, this would be a date and not an interview. Because okay. So I feel like when it comes to guys our age, every now and then you might find somebody that's out there making it. But most of the time they're gonna be, my mom and dad, they went 50-50 all my life.
Right.
So when I hear some of the stuff that people are saying, you know what I'm saying, about relationships and dating, I'm just kind of like, I don't know how that's gonna work, but maybe I'm tripping.
But how about this? Maybe the guy that makes as much as you, more than you, you're not interested in.
Or is not interested in me. You know, it goes both ways.
Yes.
When you're basing things, I think, off of just totally financial or totally off of good looks or totally off of whatever.
Right.
Your list becomes smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller.
Yes.
And I also think, hey, you should have boundaries and limits. You can't, there is I'm too open. You know what I'm saying? You might find yourself with John Joe that live on the corner.
Right.
You know, so there has to be some leeway just as much as there has to be some twiddling it down. Right. But I don't necessarily agree with, you know, again, for everybody's lifestyle.
Right.
I don't need you to pay for everything for me. I actually prefer you to not to. I'll let you know when I would like for you to spend something.
We go half on something?
We can go half on something possibly, you know, but I feel really like there's so much more that I would be looking forward to bring to the table than just what's in your pockets. I would look for you to provide things that I can't provide for myself.
Hello, I'm Shannon Sharpe, and I'm a Rose sponsor. Do you want hotter, more spontaneous sex? Rose Sparks can help. Sparks offer dual-action prescription treatment that's giving men stronger and harder erections. Rose Sparks works faster than other treatments because they're dissolved under the tongue and go directly to the bloodstream. Why does that matter? Because now when the mood is right, he'll be ready. No more waiting for that pill to kick in. Plus, Rose Sparks stays active in your system for up to 36 hours. But when you get aroused, hey, woo, you get hard without waiting. With Rose Sparks, guys can get more confidence in bed, more satisfaction for their partners, and more control when it's sexy time. Rose connects guys with a medical provider 100% online. There's no awkward conversation with an in-person doctor. If approved, treatment ships directly to the door. To find out if a prescription for Rose Sparks are right for you, connect with a provider at ro.co/shayshay. URL, that's ro.co/shayshay. I think the thing is, for a man, looks are great, education is great, body, sex, whatever the female brings to the table, woman brings to the table.
Yeah.
What about peace? Can you bring a man peace? Because at the end of the day, if you don't bring him, no matter, at some point in time, it'll get so chaotic.
I mean, I'm going to be real with you.
That's what I want you to do.
It depends on the day of the week. I don't know if I bring somebody peace all the time.
God,
you know, but I get, because who can? Come the hell on. Nobody is bringing nobody. You know, I'm being real. I'm somebody you could trust. Okay. Because sometimes I might be too much.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But at least I have some business to head to.
Yeah.
You know, when I get on your nerves.
Right.
So I think, you know, I'm realistic with what I expect. From people, from men and women. People gonna get on your nerves. And I use my parents as an example.
Right.
You don't get to 30 plus years without getting on somebody's nerves, without disappointing somebody, without hurting somebody's feeling, without growing through something, forgiving, loving, having compassion, understanding, and arriving at the place where you could say, huh, I really love you.
Right. Keke, when you have a disagreement, I remember the therapist told me this was like 30 years ago. She said, Shannon, are you arguing to be right or are you arguing for right?
I'm arguing with us against the problem. But I have argued to be right.
Come on, you done it.
Yeah.
You can be right and lose a relationship, though.
Yes, you can. You can. That's how you've learned.
Yes.
That's how you've learned. I've definitely argued to be right, but then I learned that, okay, wait a minute. And I talk about this in my book, too, where it's a conversation, though. It's a conversation that you have with yourself, right? Where you're like, oh, wait a minute. In order to be a we, I have to really act like a we. Mm-hmm. But sometimes you found yourself in relationships where you're still acting like a me. Mm-hmm. And then you have to ask yourself, do I even want to be a we? That's a real question these days.
Absolutely.
Do I really, and not even, I won't even say these days, all the time. But I think that obviously we're in a different place financially where some, you know, back in the day, women couldn't even stand on their own. But now that people, you know, can more often than not equally stand on their own, you're asking the question of, do I want to consider someone else? And I 100% do believe there is autonomy in deciding to commit yourself. Mm-hmm. I was having this conversation with my homegirl. We were talking about how, like, you know what, girl, I think I actually have been quite non-committal. And let me put it like this. A lot of people see non-committal and they think about guys. They want to have a bunch of options and da-da-da-da. Okay, well, no, I'm not non-committal in the sense where I wanted to have a bunch of options, but I knew that I did. And I had no patience for anyone that didn't fit in this little tiny box that I created for them.
Right.
And that's when I realized for myself, oh my gosh, that is also a version of being non-committal, because you're just not trying to commit to the realization that, girl, somebody's gonna get on your nerves.
Exactly.
You know, if you just keep trading everybody out, or you keep just moving on, or you cutting yourself off, then you're never gonna get to what ultimately commitment is, which is really loving and caring for somebody for being who they are and all that comes with that. And, you know, again, I think it's a choice. It's okay to not want that. But I don't think that in order to have that, you have to lose yourself.
Right.
Because it's you that has decided to give yourself to that. Right. But it's a lot that goes into it.
Well, the quickest way, if you want to find out if you want to be a we, get into a disagreement with your partner. That's the surest and quickest way to find out if you want to be me or you want to be we.
What has been your experience with that? I'm not sure of all your, if you've been married or if you are married. I have not. So you feel like you never found nobody that you felt like you wanted to get past that argument with?
No.
Damn, that was quick.
No, it wasn't that. No, I didn't. I meant that, like, the only thing I've ever wanted to do was get my family out of the situation that we were in. And I always said if I had kids, I didn't want them to spend 1 minute in a life that I had, let alone a day. And so I was so focused on that. And sacrifice, I understood the greater the greater the goal, the greater the sacrifice needed to achieve that goal. And so I missed out. Yeah, I think one of my biggest regrets is that everything that I've accomplished professionally, as being football or doing it now, that I really haven't had a whole lot of people to share it with.
But you're so handsome and still young and vibing. Why is it over now?
It ain't over.
I know that's right.
It ain't over. It ain't over. I just get started.
But I do get what you mean. It can feel like time has passed you by.
Yeah.
It can, you know, but it hasn't.
It hadn't.
But it does. It can feel like that.
Okay. I still got hope. I'm reading about skin color. Is that a lot of times that when you were younger, you wish you were of lighter complexion.
You know what? I talk about this also in my book. where I think that value systems in society, they can make you think you want something else, when really all you want is to be valued.
Right.
And so I think I noticed early on that there was this discrepancy idea with lighter skin and darker skin.
Yes.
I never looked in the mirror and didn't think I was beautiful. But what I hated was that other people thought I should feel less beautiful just because I wasn't a particular skin tone. And I think we see this all the time with how people think that their body should be, or how people think that their face should be, or how people think that their hair should be. And some of that is, just people wanting that. But then a lot of it is based on society's idea of what value is. So it's not really that you want the bigger butt or the smaller waist or the, buccal fat removal or the lighter skin or the darker skin. It's really that you want to be seen of value. And so I talk a lot about like being able to pull back those layers of what really is at the root of what any of us want.
Right.
It's really just to be accepted.
What do you, when people thought on social media, I saw where I was reading that they thought you were bleaching your skin.
Yeah, I don't know why they thought that.
I was like, man, Keke on that Sammy Sosa.
Now, why did Sammy get clocked?
He called it
Sammy,
straight.
he's
My
done
bad.
so much
my
for
bad.
us.
My bad, Sammy. My bad. You didn't catch it straight. You didn't catch it straight.
I'm howling. Yeah, no, I mean, I've never bleached my skin.
Right.
So, yeah.
Okay. But what about, but then there's the comparisons. You and Zendaya. I think she's even thinner than you, and you pretty thin, Keke. you pretty thin.
Yeah, I mean, I think comparisons are things that people do, specifically to women. And then unfortunately, definitely in our community, they do it based on complexion. I remember, again, I was talking about this in my book, and I go into greater detail, that it's one of those things for me where if you don't see how possible it is for you to achieve so much through me, being the complexion that you think is not deserving or not succeeding, with all that I've succeeded, that's when it's tough, Shay Shay. That's when it's tough for me, because I do all these things and I'm representing us.
Right.
So then you should know that that's a lie.
Right.
That you can, and by the way, I'm not the only one. There's Oprah Winfrey, Viola Davis, Taraji P. Henson, Angela Bassett, Keke Palmer, Naomi Campbell,
Megan Good.
Megan Good. I
Yeah.
mean, the list goes on. And so I think it's fighting against those social constructs that tell our people that because you're this, you can't be that. Because you're that, you can't be this. And so, it's kind of like let me go back to the drawing board and see what I can cook up. But it's one of those things where you can't really change people's perceptions of what their life can be.
Right.
And if it means diminishing you to agree to the status quo that I've accepted so that I don't push myself further, then that's what I'm going to do. But facts are the facts.
Right. You shaved your head.
Yes.
Was that liberating? Were you like, I mean, what was the thought process? How does one go, a young lady go through the process like, you know what? Yeah, I think that's going to be a good idea. You know what? I'm about to shave my hair.
I was so tired, I think, of look, I've always been twin refinement. I loved, coming and being a little adult, True Jackson VP. I love to be like, I've got a briefcase on the way and I'm going to own someone's business.
Right.
I've always had that energy. But what happens in the industry, obviously when you're a star or an entertainer, people latch on and what they love to sell about you, what they love to commodify, most likely is a part of you. But then it all of a sudden feels like it's away from you. And I felt like as a kid that what was already naturally me became so commodified in a way that it felt like it was out of my control. And so I feel like as I grew up, I was trying to always figure out, okay, outside of what people are trying to control me to be and make me up to be, and these managers and these people, and they're all trying to do, what's really me? And so then you explore. You try new outfits on, you try new hairdos, you try a new attitude, you try a lot of different things. But who you are is always who you are.
Correct.
And so even in shaving my head, it was a part of the journey of me rediscovering who I am on my own terms. And if I'm going to commodify myself, I'm not going to lose myself. And that's what I found myself to. And so, yeah, I think cutting my hair was a form of me stepping away from all the chaos that people started putting on me and reestablishing, yeah, this is me. You know, I can wear my fro and nope, and I can come here and sit here with this fabulous wig on, stiff wear.
Yeah.
You know, I can do it all, and I don't feel like one is better than the other,
Right.
or I can only do one over the other. And I think sometimes when I was a kid, that was what was being pushed on me.
Were you afraid that, man, damn, what if my hair don't grow back?
I never thought of that, thank God. That probably would have spooked me. You know what I mean? That would have been spooky. Spooky hooky. I just thought, girl, cut it off. And then it grew back even better.
There's a comment, it wasn't a comment, it was, you said it. I'm gender fluid. What does that mean?
So I didn't say I'm gender fluid. I said that I am what people describe as gender fluid, even though I don't necessarily. Oh, wait a minute. I thought you said gender identity. What are you talking about?
Gender fluidity.
Gender fluidity, or you're talking about sexual fluidity? There's so much fluidities.
Yeah. What you? Hey.
So gender fluid.
Oh, you sexually fluid.
So Wendy Williams called me sexually fluid.
What that mean?
It means that you'll date
You a
men and
trisexual?
women.
You'll try anything?
I mean, in so many words, that's what it means. that's what she called me.
Oh, that's what she called you?
Yes,
I
that's
didn't
what she
know.
called me. Well, she called me that because of my video, I Don't Belong. It was a long story.
Okay.
You know, but I was being
Cliff notes
open.
for
I
you.
was being open and saying I love who loves me, and she took that as sexually fluid. Now,
okay.
gender fluidity or gender non-conforming, I think I do fit that box in a lot of ways, even though my pronouns are she.
Right.
her.
Yeah.
But to that, you know, when I won the Vanguard Award at the LGBTQ plus gala, I spoke about how as a woman, so much sometimes of the things that I am, I often did feel I wasn't allowed to be. You know, it's kind of like what you were making a joke, but you know, with me having quote unquote high testosterone or showing up in the way that my father has always showed up. It actually is because I admire him so much. You know, I have had very, very strong male figures in my life that taught me to take no mess, to speak up for myself, to hold my head high, to own who I am, to go for what I want. And sometimes people say that's only stuff that men can be. And so for me, going into the world out of being in my family with my dad and his brothers, he's one of 9 boys, all my uncles, my Uncle Reggie used to have me climb on the walls and say, get it, Keke. My uncle would have me banging on the outside stairs saying, Ali, boombaye, Ali, boombaye. You know, they encouraged me.
Right.
And so I think for me, and I think this is what anybody speaks of, they just want to be able to be themselves.
Right.
And don't want all the society idea. You know, I'm a woman.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But the men in my life told me that I could also be strong.
Correct.
And I don't want to feel like I'm wrong for that or I can't be who I am for that. You know?
Listen that you talk, you need I don't know your situation, but I know you need a very, very, very strong man. You are a very, very strong woman.
Now, what does that mean? Tell me what that means and describe that man.
You need an alpha. You need an alpha. I'm talking about when he walks into a room, he commands attention. He has everybody's undivided attention. When they look at him, that's a man's man.
Now, wait a minute. What is it about me that gives that? What is it that I'm doing?
Because I listen at you talk. I listen at the way you position your body. You are a very, very assertive, a very confident woman. And you sense weakness very, very easy. And you don't like that.
Wait a minute. What do you mean I don't like that?
And a man. You want a man to be a man because your father was a man. And you hold your father in such high regards.
Larry? I remember in that time period that I was telling you about where the people were trying to take me from my family and talk about all the money I made. I said something very hurtful to my father. I said, well, I'm the one making all the money. He said, very calmly, there's a lot more that goes into leading a family than making some money. He didn't scream at me. He didn't berate me. He just said that and walked off. Larry has taught me everything that it means to be of service. What is sacrifice and reward? What is kindness and strength under pressure? And yes, that is everything I expect a man to be.
There was an incident that happened, and you spoke about the Trey Songz incident. We don't have to get into it, but I would like
Come on, Hand. That was so deep. You ain't got to.
But how important is it for women to speak up, to speak out?
It's important. I know it's hard. If somebody doesn't want to speak out, I'm also not that person to pressure them, because there's been other things that I've endured that I ain't spoke out about. No, I haven't put it in the book.
Why?
Why? I don't know how. I don't know what the reason would be to bring it up, or what it would be to talk about. And again, I'm very cautious of everything I say and everything I do, because I don't like to be salacious. I like for everything I say to have a reason and a meaning. And with that video, it was hard to speak out about all of that, because I didn't want people to think I was trying to just say, like, he was trying to get at me, he wanted me, because I don't think that's what it was about. It was just about power. And sometimes people's sexual prowess is their power.
Right.
If I think you want me, then I can use that to get you to do what I want. I think it was simply that.
Yeah.
I didn't want him like that. I respected him.
Right.
I didn't see him that way.
Right.
And so that's why it went the way it went. And I just wanted to stand up for myself, because I felt that I hadn't stood up for myself in the moment. So when the video came out, that's what you saw. And so I think for anybody, speak up when you feel that the time is right, but always get it out. Always tell somebody, speak it, talk it through, figure out how to process what it is you went through, that you experienced. Because a lot of women, I'll be honest, a lot of women have been assaulted and don't even know. That's the weird nuances that it comes to when it comes to rape culture in our society. It's so embedded that a lot of people don't know when they're even being harassed, or when someone did something inappropriate, but they just have all these feelings, and then all of a sudden they start changing, and they don't know how to act, and they don't know why they're feeling the way they're feeling. So I think it's important to write down how you feel, talk to somebody, speak to somebody about it, and get it out, so that you can understand the experiences that you've had, whether you want to take them to court or not.
You got a book, Master of Me, The Secret to Controlling Your Narrative. The book comes out November 19th, 2024. What can people expect? Are we going to get a different side of Keke? What are we going to get from this book?
Yeah, it depends on how much you're into my work. If you're super into it, then you're going to feel like this is the Keke that's continuing to evolve and develop and grow as a young woman. If you don't know me, then you're going to get a lot of interesting things that you aren't privy to. But I'll be honest, I don't believe in sipping tea that's bitter. I'm not a bitter person. You know what I mean? I'll share information if I feel that it's going to be useful for the next person. But ultimately, this is a book about self-mastery, about being able to show up for yourself in a better way that allows you to live in this world where we really can't control much, where things are going to go away that you didn't expect them to, that you can do everything that you thought in your mind was correct, and things still may crumble. How do you survive from that? And on the other side of it, it's also about entrepreneurialism. It's about diversifying, right? A lot of people talk about me with Keke Palmer. Okay, well, this book is about how I was able to do that, how I'm able to work in corporate and as an independent contractor, and what the steps I took to get there. And knowing that, again, I'm not trying to change a system that's been around hundreds of years before me, no matter how flawed we all know it to be. There can be some changes, but I'm not going to allow myself to be distracted around with that. Like Toni Morrison said, who I can't remember her exact quote, but sometimes racism and all that stuff, it can be a distraction to what you're really trying to do. Instead, I'm going to focus my attention on who I am and mastering myself and showing up in the best way that I can for me, so that I am not trapped in the same wheel that keeps on turning.
Make sure you go grab a copy of Keke's new book, Master of Me, The Secret to Controlling Your Narrative. The one, the only, Keke Palmer. Thank you, Keke.
Good.